Good afternoon, clerk's office.
Yes, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Melissa Rose is not picking up. Is she in today?
Yes, she is.
Okay. Do you think she's out to lunch?
She might be. I'm not sure.
It's my sense of things, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that most people go to lunch between 1 and 2.
It varies depending upon the person's schedule, so she may be at lunch. I don't know.
Okay. And I'm sorry, could I trouble you for your name, please?
My name is Melissa as well.
Okay, Melissa, are you a clerk of the court?
I'm a deputy clerk in the clerk's office.
Okay, terrific. Perhaps you can help me. I have two issues. The first issue that I have is I filed a document for filing, and it wasn't filed, and I don't know why. It was stamped and received for filing, but it's not on the record.
Okay, what's your case number?
Okay, my case number is 17 MJ 4519.
Okay, what was the document?
It was a letter from me to Judge Linares, copied to the acting U.S. Attorney William E. Fitzpatrick, where, according to case law in the Southern District of New York, there's a case in the Southern District of New York where a group of crime victims applied to the supervising judge to be taken into the federal grand jury with the U.S. not to be taken into the federal grand jury to present facts of the crimes against them. And in the case that I cited,
When did you bring this letter in?
It's stamped November 16th, 2017.
And did you hand it over the counter, or was it in the drop box?
No, it was over the counter. It's stamp received. I have my copy. I could come down and show it to you.
From the 16th from you, we have a motion to stay and a notice of interlocutory appeal.
Right, and there was also a copy of the letter.
Okay. The clerk who put these on the docket is at lunch, so I don't know. I'll have to ask her to look through her documents to see if she missed it.
Okay, and what is her name in case I want to follow up with her?
Her name is Karen.
Karen, okay. All right, so you want to take my cell phone and you can give me a call back, and then I'll move on to issue 2?
Sure, what's your number?
516 445 4390. Okay, so my other issue is apparently Magistrate Goodman, well, actually Magistrate Goodman didn't do this. It was her courtroom deputy, Ivania Fitzgerald. Apparently there's no summons from the federal district court summoning me down to this case, and I sent, because this is ongoing criminality against me, as a friend of the court, I sent an email to not only Ivania Fitzgerald, who I understand is a courtroom deputy and has no legal training, but she should be able to know how to open a case if it's legal. I sent her a case. You probably want to write this down. It's U.S. versus Herond, HERNDON, and I'll give you the citation. It's 546 Fed Sup 2nd 854. Would you like me to repeat it because I went a little fast?
That's okay.
And the bottom line is, and this is a case right on point that I gave to the courtroom deputy, Ivania Fitzgerald, as a friend of the court to give to the magistrate, because the Magistrate Goodman appears to be uninformed, or she's doing this intentionally. And what I'm asking for is, do you have a summons from the federal district court to me and a return of summons? You don't have that. So what you've got is courtroom deputy, well, let's see. A Central Violations ticket went to Texas to the Central Violations Bureau, which is not a court, and it's already been admitted that it's not a court. And then the ticket went to the U.S. Attorney's Office. The U.S. Attorney's Office is not a court. They maintain a secret database. That secret database, which they try to call the petty offense docket, it's not a docket, it's not coming through a court, is something that I can't see as a defendant, and the federal defenders have already admitted and confessed that they can't see that. And then what the prosecutor did, which is Mr. Gribko, and I'm a witness against Mr. Gribko in another case, went over to courtroom deputy Ivana Fitzgerald and told her, bullied her into opening a case. Now I'm being threatened with an arrest warrant. Now, the case that I cited for you, U.S. v. Herond, says, and this is a case on point, another magistrate judge, same situation, says, I can't issue an arrest warrant. I don't have a summons, and the summons is supposed to be based on sworn statements, which there are not in this case. And the sworn statements are supposed to be from credible officers, which there are not in this case, so that arrest warrant cannot issue. And what you have in this case, because you can see it from the ticket, is some guy named Keith Holland, who swore nothing under penalty of perjury, and a Homeland Security officer, Mitchell, who wasn't there at the time, so he's not a competent witness. And both of these officers, including Lourdes Timmerman, who claims to be a deputy U.S. Marshal, and Mr. Gribko, the federal prosecutor, all admit that I was arrested on August 10th, 2017, and I already have your supervisor of your courtroom deputies, Dan Murphy, did a review of the records and admitted that in violation of the federal rules of criminal procedure and my constitutionally protected and guaranteed rights under the Fourth Amendment to be free from searches that are not based on warrants or sworn oaths, and my Fifth Amendment right to due process, I was never taken in front of a judge without unnecessary delay on the day I was arrested without a warrant, and a complaint was never filed within 2 days, which is required for arrest without a warrant. So what you got is a magistrate who's issuing orders that are unlawful. And she's doing it ad hoc without going through the clerk's office. There has to be, what's supposed to happen is the ticket's supposed to go on the record, the statement of probable cause is supposed to go on the record. If she was doing everything lawfully, there would be a summons and a return of summons. None of that's happening. And because there's no summons or a return of summons, because nothing is based on sworn statements or competent testimony. These officers who all arrested me without a warrant and threw me in a jail cell, they broke the law. Because they broke the law, they have no credibility. So there's no way that Magistrate Goodman can obtain the summons, and because she can't obtain the summons, she can't threaten me without a warrant. And her courtroom deputy and the prosecutor and Magistrate Goodman are all doing this outside of the clerk of court's office because they never lawfully obtained the jurisdiction or the power of your federal district court. So my question to you is, why are you letting this rebellious, out-of-control magistrate continue to inflict harm on me?
I'm personally not doing anything. I don't have control over anything that comes down here.
Yeah, yes, you do, because you're a clerk and you're responsible. So I would imagine the clerk of your court would be Mr. Walsh in Newark, because it's you correct me if I'm wrong here, but there are the district of the federal district in Jersey is the entire state. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you have 3 federal district courts, Camden, Trenton, and Newark, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the clerk of court would be Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Pardon me?
Yes, he's our clerk of court.
Okay, so what you need to show me is a summons and a return of summons. You don't have that. So what Magistrate Goodman is doing is unlawful. I'd like it stopped, or I'm going to press criminal charges for white-collar fraud, honest services fraud. And because you claim that this is concurrent jurisdiction, I'll start making complaints to the local authorities, and then I'll go to every criminal defendant who I'm sure will be delighted to learn that the prosecutor's office is so corrupt and the clerk's office is so corrupt that no criminal defendant can be prosecuted anywhere in the state of New Jersey. And then I'll start taking non-judicial liens against all of your property. Now, what is it going to take for you? Who controls this out-of-control magistrate? Who's the supervising judge?
The chief judge is Judge Linares.
So we're back to Judge Linares. Yeah, and we all know the problem there is that I got a ruling from him that's a fraud, where he claims my writ of prohibition is a motion for a writ of prohibition, which it's not. And he's aware of that. He didn't write this ruling. No federal district judge would write this bozo ruling. So somebody wrote it for him. And it's a very carefully crafted fraud because one does not make a motion for a writ of prohibition. In a motion, one makes a petition for a writ of prohibition. In a motion, the burden of proof is on the moving party and the judge gets to decide. In a petition for a writ of prohibition, where the magistrate and the prosecutor have not obtained jurisdiction, you get it automatically as of right, mandatory, because my constitutionally protected and guaranteed rights have been violated. And when you allow, and the burden of proof in a writ of prohibition is on the respondents. That would be Magistrate Goodman and Mr. Gribko, the federal prosecutor, and the clerk of court, to demonstrate why they're allowing this criminality to go on in their court. And there's nothing for the three-judge panel to decide because the review of the records show that there is no summons. There is no summons based on sworn statements. Holland never swore to anything. Mitchell was not present. And all three of these officers, Holland, Mitchell, and someone who's purporting to be a deputy U.S. Marshal, Lourdes Timberman, all put me in a jail cell, arrested me without a warrant, all of which has already been admitted and confessed to by Mr. Gribko in his November 1st, 2017 letter to Magistrate Goodman, where he says, oh yes, we arrested her. So you have no summons, you have no return of summons, you can't get a warrant. I've provided, as a friend of the court, a case right on point that discusses this, which would be U.S. versus Herond. And yet, I'm still being threatened. So it is the clerk of court's office responsibility because this magistrate judge is using the court, the federal district court itself, the building, as a front, as window dressing, as a scam, as a con, a racketeering scheme to pretend that she has obtained the power or the jurisdiction of the federal district court to try to deceive me to come down to the court so she can inflict an unlawful trial on me. And I have the right not to be subjected to an unlawful trial with a bogus excuse so that, oh, you can appeal it. You don't appeal an unlawful proceeding. You stop it with a writ of prohibition. So I will be addressing Judge Linares' fraud by rejecting and returning the order that he sent to me for cause because it's a fraud, and it's a carefully crafted white-collar fraud. And I'll be rejecting the Third Circuit's ruling, which is likewise a fraud, and they also admitted and confessed that their denial of my writ of prohibition was because of the fraud in their court when they diverted my supplemental papers to a pro se staff attorney who held those papers back to deceive the three-panel judges so a ruling would come down. And they've already admitted and confessed to that. So that's going to be rejected, and they're going to have to correct that. And again, that was done to change a petition for a writ of prohibition where the burden of proof is on Magistrate Goodman, and to try to get me into motion practice where the burden of proof would shift on me. So the problem we have right now is Magistrate Goodman, her courtroom deputy, Ivania Fitzgerald, who has blocked my access to the courts twice now. because I called on October 25th, 2017, asked to be put through to Magistrate Goodman to ask her where the summons was and the return of summons. And just because I have knowledge of this doesn't mean that she's engaged, just because I have knowledge of their criminality and their unlawful acts, which are violating my constitutionally protected and guaranteed rights. Oh, and by the way, they're defrauding the United States government, because the money that's going into this is being paid for by the government. That's a very serious crime. So the primary harm is defrauding the United States government. The secondary harm is the harm to me. The third harm is that you have these people who are supposed to be in positions of trust who are breaking the law over and over again, and they're engaged in felony sedition. So where do we go, Melissa, now that I've explained the criminal conduct of Magistrate Goodman? Where is your, we need to get to the clerk of court, and he has to explain why he's allowing his federal district court to be used as a front for Magistrate Goodman's criminality.
The only thing I can say, if you'd like to contact the clerk of court, you would need to put something in writing to him.
Okay, yeah, I've had it with the in writing, would you like me to come down and start pressing criminal charges? And if this federal warrant goes through, this is a unlawful warrant, goes through the National Criminal Database, that would involve the FBI. So now what you're doing is you're tainting the entire FBI, and I will go down and press criminal charges, and I will go down and press criminal charges with the local authorities, and I will contact the federal, the criminal defendants. So now what you're doing is you're taking this incident from Trenton and putting it into national databases so that you can further inflict harm on me, and now you can drag the FBI into your criminality. The FBI cannot lie. So they cannot act on this warrant. It's an unlawful warrant. It's based on no summons and a magistrate judge who's breaking the law to collude with Mr. Gribko, a prosecutor. Well, it's not about putting it in writing. Who's your supervisor right now that I can speak to, please?
Melissa is my supervisor.
Okay, you have my phone number. I've explained the problem to you. There is no summons or return of summons. I've given you, as a friend of the court, the case law that explains this, that Mr. Gribko, in order to open a case. And I'm wondering why you're allowing courtroom deputy Ivania Fitzgerald. You notice that, does Magistrate Goodman have a law clerk?
Yes, she does.
Okay, you notice the law clerk runs away from this because the law clerk is going to lose her law license if she comes anywhere near this. So what you have is courtroom deputy Ivania Fitzgerald, who's just, a glorified secretary, basically. She's a courtroom deputy. And she's being bullied by Mr. Gribko and opening a case outside of the clerk's office. It's your responsibility to correct her so that her criminal conduct does not repeat. In order to summon someone down to your courthouse, you need a summons. Now, if you'd like, if you want to play these games, I'll file a complaint for all of you failing and refusing to prevent harm towards me and defrauding the government, and I'll make sure you're not served with a summons. I suspect if I filed a lawsuit against all of you, which is one of the many things I could do, but I'm just saying this by way of example, and you were not served with a summons, you'd be screaming your bloody freaking head off. But when you do it to me, you, pass the buck. It's another piece of writing. Who's the attorney who's associated with the court? Who's the clerk's the court's attorney?
I don't believe that the clerk of the court has an attorney.
No, I'm asking. Usually, has my paperwork been diverted to a pro se staff attorney? Is there a staff attorney that's reviewing my paperwork?
No.
Okay. Do you have an attorney with the court that reviews paperwork to check for jurisdiction from any party?
That's what the law clerks do.
Okay, so you're telling me that Magistrate Goodman's law clerk is responsible for reviewing this?
The law clerks review the papers that are brought to chambers, yes.
Okay, so what I did, and the other thing that's disturbing is when I filed my notice of appeal and my notice of interlocutory appeal, when Magistrate Goodman wrote her unlawful orders, she said, I have no knowledge of an appeal being filed. So when I came down on November 16th, 2017, I gave these papers over the counter to a gentleman who said he was going to call chambers right away because Magistrate Goodman had scheduled an unlawful hearing at 3 o'clock. And now she's writing orders at 3:15, which are unlawful, but she's saying, oh, I have no knowledge of an appeal being filed. That's another fraud. There's a notice of appeal. So either someone didn't give it to her, or she's deliberately being lied to, or she's deliberately making up stories.
I can't answer that.
Okay, so you need to put me through to the law clerk, because if the law clerk is reviewing this, then the law clerk either doesn't know what she's doing or she's doing it deliberately. So who's the law clerk to Magistrate Goodman? Because I'm not going to be jerked around anymore. I've quite had it. And this has been going on since...
I can't transfer you to chambers.
Pardon me?
I cannot transfer you.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you what was the name of the law clerk.
His name is Philip.
What is Philip's last name?
Gonzalez.
Could you spell it for me?
Gonzalez.
I'm sorry, Gon?
Zalez.
Okay, so what you're telling me is Magistrate Goodman's law clerk, who's an attorney, is the one who's reviewing my papers?
I said they review all papers that come into chambers.
Does she have one law clerk or more than one law clerk?
She has one law clerk.
And that would be Philip Gonzalez?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to be filing a complaint to have him disbarred with the federal bar. Do you have his direct line, please?
He is in chambers. You cannot call chambers.
I can when the judge is breaking the law.
I'm sorry, but you can't. There is an order telling you that you can.
That order is. Can you show me the summons? Review my case, please, and tell me where you have a summons.
That doesn't have anything to do with the order that says you can only call this main number.
Excuse me. That order has to be based on the jurisdiction of the court. And that order is unlawful. Do you have?
This is in the event of anyone. You cannot call chambers.
I can when the judge is out of control. I can when the law clerk is misconstruing, lying, and what have you. This is your problem. Review the paperwork, please. There's no summons or return of summons.
We've established that. There is no summons or return of summons. There's nothing that I can do for you beyond that.
Okay, which means that the order that the judge wrote is unlawful because she has not obtained the power of the court. She's acting outside of the clerk of court's office. She's acting outside of the district court. And she's using the courthouse itself, the concrete brick and mortar, and the staff, and her salary to run a racketeering fraud. So her orders are not based on anything. They're not lawful orders. She can write all the orders she wants. I am free to ignore them. What I don't want is to have a bunch of people who are pretending to be ignorant to take her unlawful warrant, use that warrant to beat me up, since that has already happened in the Southern District of New York where I live. The U.S. Marshals already SWAT teamed a man from Brooklyn and almost murdered him. Now, since this has already happened to me where the U.S. Marshals used their courtroom deputies to beat me up 2 years ago, I'm not going through this nonsense again. So this is a problem with the clerk of court's office. So what I will do then is, could you please, when you see, I anticipate that you may see Melissa Rose today. Is it Rosa or Rose?
Rhodes. R-H-O-A-D-S.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You said something?
No, I spelled her last name, and that was the last thing I said.
I'm sorry, could you spell it again, please?
Rhoads.
Oh, Rhoads?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I assume, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, that you're going to see her today because you're in the same workspace?
I should see her if she comes near my section, yeah.
Okay, not if she comes near your section. Could you please be so kind as to have Ms. Rose call me back?
You can leave her a voicemail. I did transfer you before, and you chose not to.
No, because I wanted to speak with somebody.
Would you like me to transfer you now? And you can leave her...
No. What I want to know is when you see her today, not if you're going to see her today.
No, ma'am, you can leave her a voicemail, and that is how you will get a call back from her.
Okay, fine. Put me through.
Hello, you have reached Melissa Rhodes at the U.S. District Court. I am unable to take your call at this time. Please either leave a message or, if you need immediate assistance, hang up and dial our main number of 609-989-2065. Thank you and have a nice day.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Yes, this is a message from Melissa Rose. My name is Lydia Radin. I'm at 516-445-4390. That's 516-445-4390. Today is Monday, November 27th, 2017. It's 1:54 in the afternoon. I had a detailed conversation with your deputy clerk, Melissa, outlining the criminal conduct of Magistrate Goodman, her law clerk, and her deputy in an unlawful proceeding against me. The docket number is 17MJ4519, which is captioned USA versus Radin, R-A-D-I-N. I'm Lydia Radin. Could you please be so kind as to give me a call back? And I'm calling about Magistrate Goodman's criminal conduct and the criminal conduct of her law clerk, Philip Gonzalez, involving your clerk's office. Thank you.